Hello, anybody out there? I show 7 waiting, and I know Gladys is here. She's in chat. I didn't get on StreamYard this time, so I can't put anybody up on the screen with me. But, last time nobody wanted to get up there, so I figured it wouldn't matter. My computer is just dragging tonight. It keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, so I don't know how it's all going to go tonight, so we'll see. And there's Nancy McKay. Hello, Nancy. Yep, you made it. And there's Dennis. Hello, Dennis. No, that's Denise. I'm sorry. Here I am with my Dennis and Denise all over again. This one is Denise. Good evening, Denise. How is everybody tonight or this evening? It's not quite night yet, but it's getting there. Hello, Nancy. And there's Kevin. Hello, Kevin. And there's Joanne Dula. Hello, Joanne. We got Gladys, Nancy, Denise, Nancy, Kevin, and Joanne. And I tell you, my computer's liable to just go crazy. I just lost my picture on my laptop of everything, and I got the thing spinning, so I don't know how the reception's going to be for you. You miss me, but you're always watching. Yeah, that's what Connie said. You wasn't in chat, but you were watching. Oh, I'm tired. I've been out in the yard messing around, working, and trying to get some stuff done, and all this rain is making the weeds go crazy. And I wanted to get that weed barrier cloth put down in the garden, but I opted to do like I did in the raised bed because I knew I couldn't get it all down. If I'd have gotten the weed cloth before I had put all the tubs and totes and things in under the canopy, then I could have put it out. But I had moved everything there. I put those logs there. I put the totes on top and then filled the totes up. I didn't have them full when I put them there. So right now they're pretty heavy. And that would be a heck of a job for me to try to move all that out of the way, out from under the canopy to try to put that shade cloth down. Not shade cloth, but weed barrier cloth. I mean, I wish I had it down, but I'm afraid it's not going to get done this season, I don't think. Had too much to do. Coming good on my end. Well, good, Nancy. Got to go eat, be right back. Well, you go ahead and eat, Nancy. Go right ahead. I ate a little bite and then I laid down trying to take a short nap. I couldn't. I just laid there for about an hour. Got up and fixed me a cup of coffee. I said I didn't get the nap. I'm probably going to go to sleep during this live tonight. What's good to eat, Nancy? I ate my last piece of fish for dinner tonight. And my last spoonful of coleslaw. Was good, though. We all missed Gladys. I think everybody in chat missed Gladys. And there's Susan. Hi, Susan. Connie's not here yet. I'm just wondering about Connie. I know she's going through some stressful problems right now from work and everything. She's working. Had a good report from the neurologist. I don't have to go back for a year unless something new comes up. Well, good. That's a good sign, Susan. And hi, Kathy. How's Kathy doing this evening? Yeah, we got 21 watching. I don't know how many's in chat. I got 7 thumbs up, which is good. And I got a message from one of our viewers. I guess they just have to stay a silent viewer because they said every time they tried to comment and post it, you know, she had to sign in and she doesn't have a credit card. So I told her, I said, well, that's okay. Just continue watching and just leave comments. I'll usually read them. And there's Sheila. Hello. Kathy Phillips and Sheila just popped in. Yeah, I've been working outside today too. The ground's been wet. I don't want to mow when the grass is wet. And I'm debating because my flowers are trying to come back up to bloom. Oh, I tell you what, the back lot behind me, which doesn't belong to me, a lot of my flower seed from the wind, it blew it over there last year. That whole lot is beautiful with Indian paint blanket flowers. First year they were over there, but I had so many in my yard last year. The way that wind blew, it blew a ton of them over there. And one of my neighbors said, yeah, I think everybody's got flowers now. The wind's blowing everybody flower seed. I thought that was so funny. I said, I'm not buying people flowers, but I'm growing them here and indirectly giving everybody else flowers. Because those flowers, they make a ton of seed, and when the wind blows, they'll come up wherever they land. So I'm thinking about just letting them grow back up and bloom. Because, they're not going to live that long anyway. It'll start getting really dry and hot, and they'll die off. But they'll come back next year. No, Sheila, that's not my kitty. I was just looking for nice pictures to put on the thumbnail, and I came across that little kitten, and it just looked so cute. And I said I knew it wasn't little Buddy, but I had to use that for the picture and the thumbnail. Yeah, I've been giving everybody free flowers, all kind of wildflowers. But the Indian paint blanket flowers are the ones that have been most spread out and have went everywhere. But it tickled me because the guy back there, when he was cleaning that lot off, and he realized it was only one lot, 50 by 105 feet, he threw his hands up said lot too small, can't build house. He walked off and never came back. So now the lot is all growing back up, and it's full of my blanket flowers. that Most of that lot, especially this end of it, is covered, and it's real thick with Indian paint blanket flowers. They're beautiful. And I know my neighbor down the street from me said that she saw some bluebonnets in her yard this year, the first time she's ever seen them. And I said, well, that was some seed from the corner of my yard, because I got bluebonnets growing in the corner. And you know, the wind will blow those seeds too if it's blowing hard enough. And there's Shelly Edwards. Hello, Shelly. How's Shelly doing this evening? I'm wondering how Ann Watson's doing. I know she was in my live Sunday and then left early, because you know she'd been in the hospital for a month, just got out. I mean, she'd went in, had her surgery, went home, ended up back in the hospital. The poor lady's had a time. Well, good, Shelly. And there's Ashley. How's Ashley doing? So if the wind blows hard enough, y'all, it might blow flower seeds your way. I don't know. I don't know how far a flower seed goes. Or the birds will fly away and drop seeds somewhere, you know. I know the camera does not do it justice. All of them are blooming at my mailbox, because I left a big patch around the mailbox, and I left a whole bunch of them right beside the carport, and they're all blooming. And it made me wish I'd have just left the rest of them. I wished I had not cut down any of them. My yard would have been so pretty. But I was afraid I was going to get in trouble letting my yard grow. I don't have grass, but you're not supposed to let grass or anything get over 6 inches. And those blanket flowers are definitely over 6 inches. But they're flowers. They're not grass. You have poppies out in the desert, and they're beautiful. I bet. Well, this was considered desert once upon a time, before they put this man-made lake in. You know, it's a 35-mile man-made lake on the Brazos River. The only thing about those wildflowers, you can't use them as cut flowers. They're dead in 5 minutes if you cut them. I've tried it. I've cut a bouquet of them and put them in a vase. And oh my God, within 15 minutes they were just flopped over and gone. So they don't make cut flowers, but they're beautiful growing in your yard. We got 18 watching. I'll have to do another video while they're all in full bloom and try to show them to you. And show you that bunch back there on the next lot behind me, where all the seed blew. I think I showed them in one video, but they weren't all blooming. I think all of them are blooming now. It is about 79, 80 degrees right now at 7:14 p.m. So I think summer is upon us, and it's so humid outside. It rained all yesterday, rained last night. We were supposed to get another chance of rain today and possibly tomorrow. I don't know. Just have to wait and see. But that storm passed, or it was all around me, and it never got bad here. We just got some heavy rain out of it, and that was all. But it didn't hit till like 2 a.m. in the morning. No, after midnight. And I was asleep by then, and I didn't wake up, so. Wonder where Kai is. He's not showed up in several lives now. I'm worried about the man, the young man. But it tickled me. He said, "You got some lady cougars in your chats." I thought to myself, you know they're just joking with you. They think you're a good looking young man and they're just joking with you. They're not serious. There's Shelly Edwards. Hello, Shelly. I wish, Linda. It's supposed to rain for the next few days. Well, thank God I haven't seen any mosquitoes. Maybe it's rained so hard it just drowned them out. And there's Living Life Loving. Hello. They're from Houston. How is Living Life Loving doing? And Tracy says hello from Oklahoma. Well, hello, Tracy. Shelly has a beautiful garden, I bet. Well, it kind of drowned a couple of tiny little plants I had out. That's one reason a couple of weeks ago I moved that 5-tier planter under the carport because I had seeds that had just started coming up and it drowned them out. So I put it under the carport and I've started seeds in there again. So now they will not get drowned out because I basically have to water them. Unless the wind's blowing and it kind of blows a mist over on them. But I don't think there's any danger of them getting drowned. Dealing with rain and mud in my backyard. Oh my goodness. You know, I did that too during the rainy season here in Texas for years ago. And I got tired of it. I got tired of stepping out my back door and stepping in mud or having to take my shoes off at the doorstep to keep from tracking mud in the kitchen. So I cleaned off the area for the patio. Well, first of all, I had them come and install a patio cover. They put on a roof, carport, front porch cover, and my back patio cover. And after that, I had my son-in-law and my daughter, who was here that day. I said, "Rick, you got your pickup with you." I said, "Do me a favor." He said, "What?" I said, "Go out to Walmart and get me 100 of those octagon-shaped stepping stones." He said, "Well, yeah, if you want them." I said, "Yeah, I want them. I got the money to pay for them." So we went out there and he got 100 of them loaded up. Brought them home and they unloaded them for me because I already had it all leveled out and stuff. He said, "Well, you don't have concrete to them. They're, you're going to have grass growing up between them." I said, "Oh, I'm going to put concrete between them." And he said, "Well, they'll crack. You don't have rebar down." I said, "Well, that doesn't matter." I said, "If it cracks, I'll just knock out the old concrete and pour a new one in or just kill the grass, but I'm not going to step out my door in mud anymore." So that's how come I fixed my back patio with those octagon-shaped stepping stones. And I concreted them all together. I said, "I don't care if I get a crack or two in them. That can be fixed. Or you don't even have to worry with it unless they get so lopsided the blocks are tripping you or something." Ashley Chapman, hello. We got 22 and 13 thumbs up. Well, I've got a concrete walkway, almost like they put down a concrete patio slab on the front side of the house. They just never put a porch over it. So I put a cover over it and the front porch, and then I put the cover over the patio in the back. So now I don't have to step out in the mud. I don't get out of my car and step in the mud. Now, I might step in a little bit of water if it's raining real hard, because the water will stand just a little bit in the rocks under my carport. I got that big gravel rocks down. I bet there's 5 truckloads of rock under my carport. But I'm not going to be stepping in no mud. Gladys says I can finally hear again. Well, good. It's about time you went and did something about that ear infection you had, lady. I said you could have ended up in the hospital or worse with an ear infection and not getting any antibiotics for it. It's very dry where you're at, Sheila. Oh, it'll get dry here. Just give it time. Like I said, March, April, May, usually that's when we get our most rain, unless it changes this year. And then when it quits raining, it gets so dry and dusty, and we end up in a drought the rest of the summer. That's why I have to get out there and water stuff, or put compost tea to plants and water them one day a week. And there's Craig D. Hello, Craig. How's Craig doing this evening? And there's Connie. She must have got home from work. How's Connie today? Do y'all realize I'm almost to 4,000 subscribers? I couldn't believe it. Every time I would go to YouTube and check anything, I see like I had 3 or 4 new subscribers, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to be hitting 4,000 before long. Oh, Craig, you just got home too, tired? I'm tired too, Craig. I hear you. I've been working in the yard all day, and I am exhausted. I've already drunk my cup of coffee, hoping I don't fall asleep during my live tonight. I know. I can't believe it. At one time, I was wondering if I was ever going to get to 1,000, and here I am, almost to 4,000 already. I mean, I've got subscribers joining every single day and night, and they're messaging me, and they're saying, I'm the new subscriber. I just subscribed, or I found your channel by accident, and I'm glad I did. I love it. It's like music to my ears. 8:21 there. Yeah, it's 7:21 here, Craig. So you're Eastern time. I'm Central time. Yeah, about 8:21, I'm going to be a little bit tireder than I am now. I tried to lay down and take a short nap. I didn't go to sleep at all, but I did lay there and rest my back a little bit, which made it feel a little better. I know, living life loving. Isn't it wonderful? Almost 4,000. Seemed like the last time I looked, it was 3,800, something like that. I said, oh my God, somebody likes watching my videos. And I did one this afternoon, and I'm wondering if I should post it tomorrow or not. It's something I made, and it didn't turn out exactly the way it was supposed to, but I figured it might not, because I didn't go exactly by the recipe. So, I mean, you can change things, but main ingredients you got to have. But I think I might show it anyway, just to show you what can happen. The biscuits you used, the quick rise yeast, was that plain flour? Usually I will use self-rising flour, always, if I can get it. Now sometimes, especially during COVID, you could not get self-rising flour of any kind on the shelf. So during that time, I did buy plain flour, and I just added my baking powder and my salt. But yeah, I always try to get self-rising flour. I get self-rising cornmeal if I can get it. Actually, I like to use the plain yellow cornmeal, the stone ground. And it's not self-rising. You have to add flour and stuff to it to get it to rise. But that is my preference to making hush puppies. I didn't have any when I did my video, All I had was some cornmeal mix, so I used that. Sheila said it's only 5:24 there. Yeah, you're 2 hours earlier than me. You're where my brother is. He's in Tucson. So I have to remember when I call him, especially if it's in the morning. If it's 8 o'clock here, I don't need to be calling him. He's not going to like being woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't think. And the good thing about it, I can wait. If I wait too late at night, I can still call him because he's 2 hours earlier than me. I can call him at 10 o'clock at night because it's 8 o'clock where he is. So I don't have to worry about it too much. Well, I don't put yeast in my biscuits all the time. Once in a while I will, just for them to be a little different. Usually I just use shortening, self-rising flour, and milk or water, whichever I have on hand. And that's my biscuit recipe. My friend is in Vegas. I didn't know that when I called her at 8 a.m. this morning. Well, if it was 8 o'clock your time, it was 6 o'clock in Vegas? Yeah, she probably did not really like being woke up at 6 o'clock. Well, when you put yeast to your biscuit, it kind of makes a biscuit that is the consistency like half biscuit and half yeast roll, if that makes sense. It's not a true yeast roll and it's not a true biscuit anymore. It makes it taste a little different. You're about 50 miles north of Tucson? Okay. Yeah, he got tired of the cold when he lived in New York. After he graduated high school, he moved up there and lived with my grandmother until he could get a job and get settled and get his own apartment and everything. And he stayed up there working for IBM in the Twin Towers forever. And finally, they wanted all of the old timers that worked for IBM to take a retirement to make room for all the new people that were trying to come in. And he had been there long enough to retire, but he wasn't ready to retire. But they said, we'll give you your per diem, we'll do this and we'll do that. You still get your full retirement because you're at retirement age. You put in your time. So he went ahead reluctantly and retired. And he tried a few other jobs and he just didn't like it. But then after that was when, the towers came down. And I said, see, there was a reason why you had to take an early retirement. You were forced to get yourself out of that tower, so you weren't there when those planes hit it. I said, I feel sorry and I hate it that it killed anybody. But I said, I am so happy that you weren't there. No, she actually went to be set at 4 a.m. Vegas time. Oh, wow. She actually went to bed at 4 a.m. Vegas time, and you woke her up at 6? I wouldn't be happy either. Where all my family is, it's an hour later than here because they're Eastern time, except for my brother who is 2 hours earlier, which what is Western time or whatever. I'm Central. Makes me sick to think about it. I know. It seemed so unreal to me. I had just gotten to work. The office wasn't full yet. Hadn't even really started working, making our calls for advertising. And all of a sudden, the manager come in and said, "Oh my God, they just hit the towers." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The Twin Towers in New York City. planes just flew into one of them. And I said, oh my God. Well, they sent everybody home. He said, we don't know what's going on. That's a terrorist attack. We don't know where they're going to hit next. And we know New York is a long ways away from Texas, but still, you don't know where they're going to target next or what they're going to do. So they cleared the office. They sent everybody home that day. And I went into panic at first because I was thinking, oh my God, my brother's working in one of the towers. And then I realized, after that instant fear, I realized then that no, he's not there. He retired, so he's not in that building, which was a great relief. But then I'm like, Craig, it almost made me sick to think about all the other people that were in the towers, especially the nursery and the kindergarten or the daycare that was in the basement of the towers. All of those little kids that got killed. I've said that was so, so senseless. But when that happens, that is definitely a terrorist attack. And they not only hit the first tower, but oh my God, there come the second plane and hit the next one. So I tell you, we honestly thought that was World War III starting right then. Because, they killed over 2,000 people. And the first thing that entered my mind is, well, is the United States going to fire back? Are we going to fight back? But at first, they didn't know who was responsible, so you didn't know who to fight back. Yeah, it's upsetting. Oh, let's see. I missed some. Dennis says, as of tonight, it's not looking very good. I will keep you posted on his condition. Thank you so much. God bless. I'm so sorry, Dennis. I hope everything works out okay. Oh, no, not another tornado in Texas. I live kind of like just on the outskirts of Tornado Alley. And we get tornadoes here quite often. Not as bad as they do up north of us. But we had one come in one year in Oak Trail Shores, took out several blocks of homes in Oak Trail Shores. I rode over there because a friend of mine lived there, and a lot of the homes, it looked like a pile of sticks thrown up in a pile. They were totally destroyed. And then the next year or two, we had a tornado on the other side of town. They just started a development, and it was all Habitat for Humanity homes. They had a lot of them already built. People were on the verge of moving in. Some of them were still in the process of being built. A tornado touched down over there, wiped every one of them out. The whole community wiped out that fast. So that those people were devastated. Having your home destroyed before you can even move in? Yes, everybody needs to pray for Dennis. Hi, April. We understand. If you're driving, we don't need you to be chatting. Just listen till you get somewhere safe and you're not driving anymore. Susan says, I really enjoyed talking to him. I've lost part of the conversation. Who were you talking to, Susan? Oh, he's been put on a ventilator and now he's in critical condition. The doctor had just came in, so we need your prayers, please. Thank you. Yes, everybody pray. And hello, Nancy. We are praying for Dennis and his loved ones. Oh, okay. That's what confused me. Because I knew Dennis had some health problems. He was diagnosed with cancer. But the way the conversation was going, it kind of threw me off. And I said, well, that's Dennis chatting, but he sounds like he's talking about someone else. So that makes it plain and simple. Someone is talking for Dennis. Okay. That makes sense now. Yes, we will definitely pray for Dennis. He needs prayers. His whole family does. Because, when he goes through that, his whole family is. And I mean, it's worse for the one that's going through it, but it makes it hard on your family too. They came to update us and ask for prayers. Okay, that makes sense. Because, see, I missed a couple of things in the comments, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And there's Ann. Hello, Ann. Are you feeling good tonight? But we're talking about Dennis. Everybody needs to keep Dennis in their prayers tonight because he's not doing well. He was diagnosed with cancer. So he had someone come in to chat and speak for him to ask for prayers for him and his family. And we will definitely do that. Yeah, that's understandable, Sheila. And there's Kathy 2010. Hello. And Ann says, I'm feeling so much better, very weak, but I'm struggling on. Well, you just got to think positive, Ann. Do the best you can, think positive. That's about all you can do. Try to keep yourself in a good frame of mind. Because you can't give up. Don't ever give up. I know my son told me when I was going through my cancer scare, he said, Mom, most people would not have made it through what you just went through. He said they would have just given up. But he said, you kept good spirits and just had a good frame of mind through it all. And he said, I know that's probably what got you through it all. I said, probably, and the good Lord above. I usually put myself in his hands and let his will be done. Well, it's good to see you, Kathy, 2010. And it's so good to see Ann and Connie. I was worried when she didn't show up at first, but Gladys said she was working because, Connie's going through a lot too. Connie needs your prayers. She has a lot of health problems and she's dealing with a lot of stress on her job right now. So everybody needs to remember her and Dennis, Gladys, Ann, everybody. Just pray for all of our subscribers, especially everybody that comes in chat that we know about, We know have health problems. We know have job problems. We have to give them a little bit of support just by, praying for them and asking the good Lord to take care of it. Oh, okay. Well, you're excused, Connie. I'm just glad you made it in chat, that's all. Because when you're not here, I worry about you. I'm afraid you're not feeling good. You're at your worst or something, and I start worrying about you. And says, veggies. Yeah, I hate to hear that about Dennis. He's so sad. I mean, I just wish there was something I could do, but it's hard. All you can do is pray. After all this rain is over, maybe in a day or so, I can do a good garden tour and show you how much it has grown with this rain we've gotten. I tell you, rainwater is the best for a garden. It's the best for your flowers, your yard. I don't care what it hits, it's the best. I mean, I think my garden grew 2 or 3 inches overnight. My little scrawny looking little bitty tomato plants are starting to grow. It looks so good. I'm looking forward to being able to transplant my little purple tomato plants and my ponderosa pink, because I've never planted a ponderosa pink tomato plant before, and I've never planted purple tomatoes before. So that's going to be 2 new ones on me. I can't wait to see them produce tomatoes. I'm just as mean as ever, praying hard for everyone. Well, sometimes it takes a little bit of meanness, Nancy, to survive in this world. I know, Connie, you're not feeling good every day, but I know you're even worse if you're not in chat. There you go, Connie. Just be stubborn. Can't let it get you down. I mean, I know you suffer, but it's so good to see you in chat. Believe you me, it is. Because I know in all your suffering and all your stress you're going through, that you made it into chat. Connie needs a gold ribbon or blue ribbon for making it into chat. And there's your Hannon. I'm hoping everybody gets better, Connie. I'm sorry to hear this and hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for those kind words, Johannan. I know Connie appreciates that. I tell you, there were so many times with my back and neck injury. Sometimes I just wished I'd lay down, go to sleep, and not wake up. Because I got these headaches from my neck injury. There was times my head hurt so bad, and it hurt all day long. It would not stop hurting. And the doctor told me it's just like people having a migraine. But he said, yours is not a migraine. It's from your injury. But you know what? I found a way to stop it from hurting. And the doctor didn't tell me. He probably would have told me just the opposite. But I found if I took an ice pack, rolled it up in a towel, put it on my neck, and just laid back in the recliner with that ice pack back there, and every time it started to get warm, I'd take it out and put another one there. I'd lay on that ice pack for hours, and sooner or later, it would get my neck cold enough, my head would quit hurting just like that. My mom was here one day and saw me do that. And she said, Linda, you're freezing your neck. I said, that's the whole idea. I said, I got to freeze my neck to get it to quit hurting. If I can get it cold enough, it'll freeze a little bit back there and it'll release what's causing my head to hurt. And she saw that it did. After I laid on that ice pack for a few hours, my head quit hurting. I was up just as good as ever. But until then, I felt like cutting my head off. It hurt so bad. I didn't think I was going to make it through all those headaches. Thank God I don't have them today. I've got other problems today, but I don't have the headaches anymore. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to have them again. Because the way my neck and back injury is, it's like it moves around. You know, I may have pain different places at a different time. Seems like it's mostly in my side and my back and my legs now, not my head. Yeah, I told Gladys in the beginning before anybody else showed up that I was so glad she was in chat today or this evening. Well, good, Shelley. I've got a 6-month follow-up of my yearly checkup, I think. Is it in August? February. Yeah, I think it's in August sometime. I'll have to look. Yeah, it's always good news when you have a good checkup. Believe you me, nobody wants to hear bad news at a checkup. We got 38 or 37 people. I looked, and as I was going to say 38, one dropped out. They may come back. Yeah, Connie was telling me about her husband now. He's in a bad way. I'd be afraid to leave him home alone myself. I think he should have somebody with him all the time because he could have a blackout and hurt himself pretty bad. I was telling Connie in the message the other day that my dad had was diagnosed with epilepsy. Not epilepsy, narcolepsy. There's two different types. He had narcolepsy. And his was acted on him kind of the way Connie's husband is having these blackouts. Because when my dad had a seizure, he'd just go limp. He couldn't hold his head up. He couldn't talk. He knew everything going on. He could hear you when you talked to him. He just couldn't do anything. He had no muscle control. If he was standing, he'd fall to the ground. And the first time I saw him do it, I thought he'd fallen asleep in his rocking chair and his head dropped down. And I said, Mom, Dad's asleep. She said, oh, no, he's not. And she ran to the kitchen, came back with this little bottle and got a pill, put it under his tongue. And in just a few seconds, he was alert again. It was the narcolepsy. That's the way he had his seizure. And I was telling Connie, too, that when they found out he had it, he was working on this Wachovia Bank in Wilmington, North Carolina. He was up on like the second or third story scaffold running an electric drill, and he had a seizure. He fell off of that scaffold. The drill went through his chest, and they rushed him to the hospital, tried to figure out what was going on, what caused him to fall. Well, they sent him to the VA hospital, and after going up there time and time again and doing all kind of tests, they found out that he had a seizure and he fell off that scaffold. He had narcolepsy. And he'd fall asleep driving the car. I was in the front seat with him one time, thank goodness. And he had a seizure driving, and I had to reach over and grab the steering wheel, and I finally got the car to stop. And I told him, I said, Dad, it's not safe for you to drive a car. You're going to kill yourself, or you're going to hurt somebody else. Yeah, well, I'm glad they're checking him, Connie. Maybe they can figure out exactly what's going on with your husband, and they can do something to help him. I know you told me about him being in that motorcycle accident. He was flown 150 feet. He was in bad shape. It's a wonder he even survived. Mississippi, yeah, another beautiful state. Every time I see the word Mississippi, I think of the time when I was 12, I think, and we had a spelling bee at our school. And the winners from each class got to go to I think the county spelling bee, and from there you went to state. One of my words was Mississippi. Nobody in the classroom could spell it. Finally, it got to me. I rattled it off, no problem. But I had to laugh because the only reason I could spell it correctly was my aunt had told me a little joke about Mississippi, how to spell it. And she said, just remember, say M-I, crooked letter I, P-P-I. Crooked letter meant two S's. So when it come to me to spell it, I'd say M-I, and I'd think crooked letter, and I'd say S-S-I, crooked letter, S-S-I, P-P-I. And everybody looked at me like, how did she do that? Nobody could spell it but her. I said, well, I have to thank my aunt. If it hadn't been for her, I would not have spelled it correctly either. Yeah, being in a coma for 3 months, you had to be rehabilitated to even walk. Not to mention the fractures, skull fractures, and probably other broken bones that he suffered. My hubby's cooking Mediterranean basil cod. I bet that smells good. I've got to get my purple basil planted too, that I was sent. Let's see. I've got it over here with my, I left it on my table. Shelley Edwards sent that to me. Purple basil seed. I wrote her name on it so I wouldn't forget. But I've got it here with my Paris Island lettuce. Those are two things I want to plant. The next things I plant. If I can figure out where I'm going to put them. And there's M. Largent 2003. Welcome. And Martha Petru. Hello. Let's see, yeah. M. Largent and Martha. Welcome to chat. Glad to have you. Glad you could make it. Yeah, we can keep the pharmacies busy, that's for sure. We're having cod and big vegetable salad. That sounds real good. I ate the last piece of my catfish tonight for supper. I warmed it up with a couple of hush puppies and ate the last spoonful of coleslaw. It was good. You think there's 1,000 seeds? It feels, by feeling the package, it feels like there's quite a few in there. And all my carrots and my turnips are coming up in that raised bed garden, you know, that little galvanized raised bed. Everything I planted in there's coming up. I'm so tickled to death. But I've got a whole bunch of little, is it Ponderosa pink tomatoes? See, they've come up. They're about 1 inch tall. So I can't wait till they get big enough to transplant them out to a bigger pot somewhere. So they'll really start growing. And I got to get some of the purple tomatoes started too. I've got to get them growing. I want to see one. I've never seen a purple tomato. And I planted purple bell pepper. And you know, everybody, not everybody, but I had a few comments when people watched the video where I planted the bell pepper seed that I cut out of the bell pepper. I just took it and stuck it down in the pot out there. I had a comment left on that video. They said, those seeds are never going to come up. You got to let them dry at least before you plant them. I got news for whoever that was. I don't remember whose comment it was. It was nobody's in chat. But my pepper seed are coming up. Go figure that. So I planted even more of them today. I had a red one and a gold one I think I cooked this week. I planted every one of those seeds. I spread them out, so they're going to surprise me when they come up and start producing peppers. I didn't mark them. Some pots have multicolored peppers. I stuck a few more seed down in some of the cinder blocks. I wanted to get flowers started in there, but I hate giving up my space to flowers when I can plant a vegetable, you know. I had okra planted in those cinder blocks one year. I know those okra were 12 foot tall. They were growing up to where they were almost touching the tree limbs, and they were going over toward the sun. I was having to stake them up to keep them from falling over. Never seen such big okra in my life. And I had some growing in the pot around the little shed, the silver shed. And it was growing above the top of the shed. That's how tall they were. And they were producing okra like crazy. I said, well, I don't need to plant okra that tall anymore. I need shorter okra. I have to get a ladder to harvest this stuff. Well, I've planted them before, Nancy, so I knew they'd come up. It just takes them a little while. You know, it always takes pepper seed, seem like, longer to germinate and sprout than it does other seeds. But I knew it was just a matter of time. So now I'm going to have so many pepper plants. I'm going to have to transplant them somewhere. I'm a gardener going crazy, y'all. I got so many plants I'm going to have to transplant. I don't know where I'm going to put them. I guess that's a good job, a good problem to have. So I don't know. They're all mixed up. I've got green bell pepper, red bell pepper, and gold bell pepper. And I think I planted an orange one too. So I got all those different color peppers. So it's going to surprise me which ones come up and produce peppers. And I need to start more of the Hungarian wax peppers. They're hot peppers. Because I've only got one looks like survived out there. I've got several of my Marconi peppers that survived. About 5 or 6 of them, I think. The bugs or something got to the other ones. I don't know. Maybe I didn't leave them big enough before I transplanted them. So I'm going to start letting my plants grow bigger before I transplant them now. Maybe if they get bigger, the bugs will leave them alone. The deer eat. Oh, my goodness. My brother had that problem in North Carolina, Martha. He had a beautiful garden in his backyard. Tons of green tomatoes the day I was up there. And I told him, I said, Mike, you got a beautiful garden back here. Yeah, and he said, I got tons of tomatoes, but I never get to eat one. I said, what do you mean? He said, because just as soon as they start turning a little red anywhere or turning colors, the deer eat them. I said, I go out there the next day thinking I'm going to pick a tomato and the deers eat it already. I said, well, you're going to have to put you a chicken wire fence around your garden and then put a shade cloth over the top of it so the deer don't jump over the fence and get in it. I said, that's probably about the only way you're going to have a garden that you can eat. And little buddy's at the door. I want to show you what he does. I'm going to bring the camera over here. Usually he'll back up and walk around, wanting me to put his dinner outside. See there, before he'd run in the house, wanting it in the house. But he likes these temperatures. Let me get his bowl. Here you go. There you go. Make sure I'm showing him to you. He's digging into it like he's not eating. I've only fed him probably 6 or 7 times today. But I had to show you because everybody's been asking about little buddy. But he's here. He's fine. He's still getting fed. He hasn't went anywhere. Oh, I don't want to stand there with the door open like that. And I tried to aim this camera to where it don't pick up that light right up in the corner. I know what he means. And I'm breading it, placing it in parchment paper with a pat of butter and squeezing fresh lemon on it. You talking about fish? That sounds like you're getting ready to bake some fish. Yohanan said he loves cats. Well, little buddy's adorable, but he's spoiled. Well, good, Shelley. Your garden's doing inside. I mean, it's doing okay, but it's inside. Yeah, it's hard to grow anything indoors when they don't get sun. Yeah, I thought about that when I saw the way my son did his chicken pen to keep the hawks from getting in to get the chickens. He's got it fenced all in like a chicken run from their house. He's got a big chicken house, not a little one, a big one. And he fixed them a run so they could come out and have room to walk around and eat bugs and grass and that type of thing. But he didn't have a top over it. And he said there was a chicken hawk that flies over their house all the time. And he got a shade cloth that was the right size of what he fenced in, and he covered it with that shade cloth. And he said so far the hawks will not fly down to that shade cloth that keeps them out. But they had bought 3 or 4 little baby chickens, biddies, and one of them got out of the fence because he was so little he went right through the hole. And a chicken hawk got the baby chicken. So they went back and put another fence, well, another wire mesh thing around like a couple of feet of the bottom of it all the way around. So it was small enough that the little baby chickens couldn't come through the holes in the fence. And he said that'll keep them from getting any more of their baby chickens. Yeah, I fixed salmon patty. Not a salmon patty, but a salmon fillet in my little frying pan. Sometime I'll put just enough oil in the bottom of it to keep it from sticking. And then I'll sprinkle lemon pepper on it and put a little bit of garlic and onion powder on it. Put the lid on it and slow cook it that way. It's almost like baking it. You're not really frying it. And I love it that way. It only takes a minute or 2 for it to cook. Yeah, I found all these easier ways to bake stuff without having to turn the oven on most of the time. In fact, I need to fix me some salmon. I've got patty fillets up there in a package that I have not opened yet. Used to, I'd fix at least 1 salmon fillet a week, or try to, with my greens and other stuff, because I know salmon is good for you. And I'm due for some salmon. Serves her dinner at 6 p.m. It is 6. She is meowing. Yeah. Well, little buddy gets his dinner anytime he comes to the door and wants it. He taps on the door like, I'm hungry. Give me something to eat. Hour later, he's back, tapping on the door again. So I give him another snack. An hour or 2 later, he's back again, tapping at the door. I said, but little buddy, this is getting ridiculous, and I can't leave it out there because if I do, the other cats eat his food, or either the ants get in it. So I have to leave it out there long enough for him to eat what he wants, and then I bring the bowl in the house. Yeah, I love fresh salmon too, but it is a little expensive. I've got frozen salmon in the refrigerator. You know, it's a package of maybe 5 or 6 fillets in it. They're little. Once in a while, I'll break down and I'll go buy me a fresh patty, not patty, but a fresh fillet of salmon from the deli section, where they have their seafood, and it is so good. Oh my gosh. And it seems like that Aldi usually has the best price on it. But I love the salmon that comes from HEB. They have some pretty salmon fillets. A lot of them are pretty thick too, which is real good. Linda, don't little buddy go to sleep? He does, but he'll worry you to death every hour on the hour to be fed. And then when he knows I'm going to bed, he'll curl up in the swing outside and go to sleep. And then he's at the door bright and early the next morning wanting breakfast. He doesn't run in the house as much now as he used to. He's skittish since he got in that fight with that cat. And when I talked to that professional, they told me, they said, well, how does he act? He said a lot of times they never act the same after getting in a fight, especially if they get hurt that bad. He said they get kind of skittish and they don't trust people anymore. I said, well, he seems to trust me, but I've noticed he is a little skittish. He jumps at the least little sound, and he only comes running in the house once in a while. It's not every time I open the door now. So I can tell some difference in him. But I told her, I said, he's let me put antibiotics on him and stuff like that. And she said, well, he really trusts you, or he probably wouldn't do that, especially after being in the fight. I turned the porch light on, so that's what that glare is. I thought it might be dark enough outside to have the porch light on. My son-in-law used to go to Alaska once a year with his dad and some of the guys from the company they worked for, and or worked with, because his dad was the owner. They went on a fishing trip to Alaska, and he'd always come back with a ton of salmon. And he gave me some of it, several packages of it one year when they went. Oh, that was so good. They don't go anymore. I wish they did. Bring me some more salmon from up there. Connie says my cat's 16 years old. If you don't feed her, she will go to the bottom up in the bag. Well, there's been times that little buddy will come in, and if there's not anything in his bowl in the floor, he'll go to the hallway where his bags of cat food is, and he'll start hitting the bags, letting me know, I want some of this food. Well, little buddy, he's been out for too long. He was an outside cat for 2 good years, I think. Probably 3 years now. He loves it outside. I don't think you could make an inside cat out of him. I think he'd go crazy if you put him in the house and just kept him in the house all the time. And sometimes cats, it depends on the cat. Sometimes they're not happy being cooped up in the house. They'll finally just go and crawl under the bed and sleep all day. You don't even know they're around because they're so bored. They don't get exercise and they just go curl up and go to sleep. Don't even know they're in the house. Little buddy's not like that. He gets out and he runs around and he has him a good time. He'll get up on the table or the swing and curl up and go to sleep when he wants to. Or he'll just lay up there and hold guard, keep guard on everything. He's my guard cat. Yeah, but I think he'd go stir crazy if you tried to keep him in the house. Well, I think my son-in-law, when he got his in Alaska, they froze it in um what do you call those bags? Oh, I've got a sealer where they get all the air out of the bag, and it's frozen, and it comes from Alaska with him on the plane, but it stays frozen. They freeze it there, and it stays frozen even after it gets here. So, but it's fresh frozen. Is it hot ice? Is that what they call it? Vacuum sealed is what I was trying to think of. I've got a vacuum sealer that my anonymous giver gave me, and I love it, and I use it, but I couldn't think of the name of it. Vacuum sealer. Yeah, it might be better to keep her inside till she has her kittens, because she'll have them and you won't know where they're at, and something might get to them. Yeah, if I had a cat that was going to have kittens, I'd want to keep them inside too. At least until the kittens were big enough to halfway fend for themselves, you know. That's what we always do when I was growing up. We never would have a cat that stayed in the house all the time. Ours were cats that stayed outside, and we'd feed them and play with them and then put them back outside. But one of our cats got pregnant and was going to have kittens, and when my dad knew it was time for those kittens to be born, he got a great big cardboard box and cut one part of one side of it down a little bit and put it in the house and put some towels and stuff in the bottom, and kept the cat in the house till the kittens were born. So we got to see the little baby kittens. Talking a lot, y'all. Your cat would care less about going outside anymore. She's scared to go outside. Well, my daughter-in-law said she heard something scratching at the door one day, at the kitchen door, and she couldn't imagine, well, what is that out there trying to get in? And she opened the door, and it was one of their cats. The cat had never been out. And somehow, with her going in and out of the door, or some of them going in and out, the cat slipped out. And he went out into the garage, but they always usually keep the garage door open so the cat can go anywhere in the yard. She said, I don't know how long that cat had been out in the yard. I didn't miss it in the house because they're always under somewhere asleep. You never see them anyway. But she said, man, that cat was terrified. He was doing all kind of meowing and slapping at that door, wanting inside. She opened that door, and man, she said that cat liked to knock her down, running in between her feet, getting in the house. I said, well, you'll know that'll never make an outside cat. Never been out. It's been inside all its life, so it doesn't know to be outside. But I used to have 2 cats, and they were pretty much indoor cats. But it got to the place where I couldn't keep a litter box in the house anymore. Every time the cat would go use a litter box, I would be coughing and gagging. Oh, it made me so sick. And I had tried all kind of different litters. So I said finally, well, they're going to just have to start going outside to go to the bathroom, and they can come back in when they want. So I did, and my cats were happy, but I couldn't have a litter box in the house. And I get to thinking about these people, you know, that have pet doors that come into their kitchen, so their cats or little dogs can go out anytime they want. You don't know what they're going to encounter when they go outside. I just don't have a cat door. Little buddy made my whole door a cat door. He just bangs on it with his paw or scratches at it. Oh, I missed something else. We had outside cats 20 years ago. We went on vacation and had my family feeding them. Our neighbor boy killed them. Oh no! Broke their jaws and beat them with a baseball bat and left them on our porch. Man, that was a monster. He wasn't a child, he was a monster. How old a kid was this? Our neighbor boy. I can't imagine any kid doing that. That had to be pure evil. If he did that and he was just a young boy, I can't imagine what does as an adult. It'd have been hard not to beat that little boy till he couldn't sit down. But then you would have got in trouble, you know. 14 years old. He was pure evil. And if he was 14, he knew right from wrong. He knew not to do that. He was just pure downright mean and evil. Yeah, I wonder how many other pets he's done that to over the years. I hope he doesn't own any pets. I mean, that's terrible. Yeah, that's one of the signs of being a psychopath or something. I mean, a serial killer. Yeah, he knew he was old enough to know better. You don't even have to be 14 to know you shouldn't hurt an animal. You shouldn't take a baseball bat to a kitten, or you shouldn't break its jaw. I mean, oh my God. Wonder what they did with him after they charged him. I wonder what kind of fine he had to pay. Was he put in juvenile detention or something at least? Cruelty to animals? Oh my God. He should have done some time in jail. Or, like I said, a juvenile detention center, which is a prison, kids' prison. Well, I think she said that was 20 years ago. But I'm hoping back then they at least put him in jail or did something. Just like it is written in the old days, respect the animals. Yeah, I don't even hurt stray animals that come around my yard. Even if they cause a problem around here, I don't hurt them. I might shoo them off and hope they go away, which they usually do, but I'm not going to hurt them. Yeah, he should be in jail for life. I mean, if he'd do that to a cat and kittens, I can't imagine what he'd do to a small child. He wouldn't think anything different. That's terrible. Yeah. Put him in the big boy jail. They'll love him there. Well, good, Johannan. You watch my fish fry. That's the first time I'd fried fish like that in a long time. Because I usually bake my fish now. I don't usually deep fry them like that. Brought back a lot of memories. But I've got some shrimp I'm probably going to deep fry like that too. Sooner or later, I don't know when. Yeah, I could have cooked a few of them with my fish the other day, but I had too much already to cook. I didn't want to add more to it, so. Oh, that's okay, T. Sharon. We know what it's like having grandkids around. You don't want to do much of anything. You just want to pay attention to them. Craig says he worked in a fish lodge for many years, Friday nights and Saturdays. Well, good for you. I worked in a lot of different places where I was the chief cook, chief cook and bottle washer, as you call it, and cashier, waitress, you name it. I was all of it. So I got a little bit of cooking experience from all that. Which, I mean, I knew pretty much how to cook anyway before I got the job. Yeah, it was hard work. It's hard to fix a big meal in your house by yourself, too, like I was doing. I mean, I fixed all of it. You know, the hush puppies, I made my own coleslaw. I battered and fried my fish. It's a job by the time you get finished. And then after you get finished, you got all that mess to clean up. But you do get to eat it. You don't do fish, T. Sharon? Well, there's people that don't like fish. That's okay. Yeah, you know, I think it was April mentioned something that she didn't eat meat, so she doesn't eat fish, but I don't think they classify fish as a meat, do they? Isn't it the red meat, like beef and pork and um, chicken and all that they classify as meat? Because, in the olden days, I mean, way back at the beginning of time, that's about all they got to eat was a little veggies and fish mostly. Yeah, I love coleslaw and hush puppies too. I like fresh fish, but not seafood except fried shrimp. April's home now. She's outside with her dog. I always had the best hush puppies too when I fixed them. I was out of practice and I didn't fix them quite as good this time. They were still good, but not like I usually fix. I usually chop up a little bit more onion, just the regular white onion or yellow onion in them. And I think I used the green onion this time, which makes it a little different. April flowers bringing me flowers. Well, I planted sunflowers and Indian paint blanket flowers in those 5 green big pots along the property line with the rose bushes. So what I'm trying to accomplish with that is letting them drop seed all along the property line. So part of them will blow over here in my yard and part of them will blow over on the next lot. So hopefully next year I'll have it so covered in flowers all over the yard that I'm not going to have to mow until after they bloom. I didn't have too many over on that side yet, so that's what I'm hoping for. But like I said, you never know where the flowers, the seeds are going to end up. The way the wind blows them, they just end up and grow wherever the wind blows them and they land. You not seen it yet? Well, I got 3. The first one is come to my fish fry. That was the frying the fish and everything. Or maybe I'm thinking about another one. Because I had to put two videos together to do all that. You made the bread. It came out great. Well, good, Diana. Glad you could make it, and I'm glad your bread came out right. I'm doing better than honey. Yeah, it makes me sad too, April. Because I know he told us he was diagnosed with cancer and that he was going in for treatments and all that, but evidently he's going through a bad spell with it right now. Well, I had put 2 videos together to do the first one. Welcome to my fish fry. That's the one you should watch, the longer one. And then I broke it down and put 2 different ones. Because I figured somebody that wanted to just see how sauce is made, they may just want to watch that one. And then if somebody wants to see how fish is fried and stuff like that, they can watch the other one. If they want to see both and watch the longer version, they can watch the longer video, which I hope they watch all of them. Let me look and I'll show you. I'll tell you. Oh, I forget what I name them. I put so many videos out. Y'all, I tell you, every time I check my YouTube studio, my numbers go up. I'm at 3,800. 3,809 subscribers right now. Woohoo! Not quite 200 more and I hit 4,000. Well, I think I goofed because I stayed up all night. I reposted my fish video. So I think I've got 2 fish videos out there posted right now, and they're the same. And I didn't mean to do that. But I did publish one for homemade salsa. That was the second part of one of the others. Oh, it was BLT My Way and homemade salsa. So what I did was I took the homemade salsa part video out and made a separate one for that. Because some people will just do a search on YouTube to look for homemade salsa. And I said that way that video will come up. That was the purpose of doing that. But if you'll watch the, yeah, there's only one. Yeah, I goofed on that one, and I've already got 307 views on the new one. And I got 2,300 on the first one I put up. So it's getting some views, y'all. But that was a mistake. I didn't mean to post that one twice. I wanted to post the salsa video twice. And I ended up posting my fish fries twice and my other one twice. But it's okay. People are watching it, so hey, that's all right. Yeah, 3,809 subscribers, y'all. Woohoo! Yeah, I had one subscriber. I don't know if they were a subscriber or not, but they posted in the comments on one of my videos. I don't remember which one it was. It was one of the recent ones I just put up. And they said, "Oh my God, your videos are getting worse." And they said something about you need to learn how to talk, and made comments about my accent. Well, I'm Southern, y'all. I have a Southern accent. I'm Southern. I'm originally from North Carolina. I'm a Southern person. Oh, they said I sound so uneducated. And I politely mentioned in the comment back to that person, I said, well, because I was a little bit, not mad, but I was just a little bit like put out by it. And I said, uneducated, and I can't talk. So I first explained to them, I'm Southern. I'm from North Carolina. I talk Southern. So, hey, that's it in a nutshell. I'm not going to change the way I sound. Doesn't mean I'm uneducated. I said, by the way, I've got an associate's degree in general business. I've got another associate's degree in computer information systems. I'm not totally ignorant. I said, what do you have a degree in? And I left it at that. I don't know if they've read it or not, or if they've responded. I don't care. But there's people from all areas of the world. Everybody has an accent depending on where they're from. Doesn't mean they're ignorant. Doesn't mean they're stupid. Oh my God. That was an ignorant person to think I was ignorant because I talk Southern. And I said, you know what? It almost sounded like somebody was jealous. And then I laughed about it and got off of it. And I said, read that and let's see what you respond. Don't care if you do and don't care if you don't. Don't bother me at all. I don't remember which video it was on, but it was one of the recent ones the last couple of days. I just don't remember offhand which one it was. But that's the first comment I've gotten like that. I said, I'm not sure who's ignorant here. The one that left the comment or me? And plus, I'm not so ignorant I don't have a YouTube channel. Do they have a YouTube channel? I bet not. Yeah, just ignore them. That's all you can do. And I said, my ignorance is getting me views. That's what I care about. I got to have views and subscribers. And I make friends all over the world. So I'm pretty happy about that. Well, thank you, Susan. April says, I talk old school pidgin. It's a form of old Hawaiian language. I'd love to hear that. But you know, when I was little, we lived in New York for several years. And I sound just like a Yankee then. And I got teased when we moved back to North Carolina about me being a Yankee. So I tried hard to watch what I said, and I didn't want to sound Yankee anymore. And then pretty soon, we'd go to New York on vacation and stuff and visit family. And my aunts or some of the friends up there would say, just say something, just say something. I love to hear you talk, because I sounded Southern. I said, oh, well. Can't please everybody, can you? I don't even try anymore. I please myself. That makes me think of when I had this job. I was a CEO, and I had the title in the difficult times the company was going through. I was the CEO that should have been attending the meetings with the head of the financial department, I guess you could call it, because I was the one responsible for finding what their problem was, and I turned it into them. But I was not asked to go to this meeting. The head of that department went into the office next to me and asked the lady that was in there, and she was not a CEO. She did not do the job I did. Told her that he wanted her to attend the meeting. And she said, and he didn't realize I heard him, but I did. And she told him, she said, well, Linda's the one that's supposed to go to that, not me. I don't do that job. He said, yeah, but she doesn't look like she should go to that meeting, because I dressed casual. I wore my hair up like I did now, because my hair was a lot longer then than it is now when I first got out of college. And when I went to work, rather than sit on my hair, which was very uncomfortable, I put it up just like it is. And I never thought anything about it. I was just being me. That's the way I did the whole time I was going to college, to get the education that it took for the job I was doing. But he didn't think that I was appropriate to go. But yet he told her to wear a suit that didn't smell, because she never got her suits cleaned the way she should. And her suits had an odor to them. They didn't smell bad, but they had like a mothball smell. It didn't have a fresh smell like it did when you come from the cleaners. It had that mothball smell. And he told her, he said, and wear a suit that doesn't smell like mothballs. But yet, and I could have wore a suit if he'd, if I'd have been the one that he mentioned to go to the meeting, which I should have been by all rights. I could have wore a suit. I had a suit. I just didn't wear them to sit in the office to do the job I did, because I didn't usually see the public. I sat in my office and did my job all day long without seeing anybody else, except maybe one or two people that passed by my door occasionally that worked in the next office to me. But yeah, that just kind of like, yeah, I don't believe I just heard him say that. So I didn't get to go to that meeting. And guess what? When they finished the meeting, they realized they had to cut payroll. They had to cut expenses to save the business because some of their sales reps who bid on jobs for the company were charging materials and stuff to the big jobs to do their little side jobs that they were making their own money on without the company knowing it. Plus, I was one of the people they let go because they had me on salary and they figured they could hire someone else in there, not to do all of the job I did, but just part of it, like the data entry part, and pay a lot less. Well, they got this person in that they paid less. The only thing is they had to pay them a lot of overtime because they couldn't get the work done. And I did 4 or 5 different jobs all in one day, and she couldn't handle one job and keep up with it. And I never went over my 40 hours to get it done either. They realized their mistake after they let me go, and then they were not going to follow their pride and tell me they wanted me back. Because guess what? I found out from one of the people that worked there after that the head of the accounting office, or whatever you want to call him, I don't want to mention his name. He said, well, I would call her and get her back here, but he said, I don't think she'd take the job back. Because they realized the amount of work I did in a day's time. And they realized they didn't pay me enough for the work that I already did. And they didn't realize by hiring somebody that didn't know as much as I knew about computers and stuff, they couldn't do the job in 40 hours. They couldn't even do a fourth of the job I did in 40 hours. So that was a big mistake on their part. And I laughed about it. I said, well, that was your decision. Sorry. And he's right. After them doing me that way, if he'd have called me to come back to work, guess what? They'd have had to raise my salary, or no way I'd went back to work there. Yeah, I was going to ask Gladys that, and I didn't think to ask her. I will text you later. You leaving us, Connie? We didn't even get to play trivia yet. We've been talking too much, or I've been talking too much. Pad blinking, sorry. Oh. Yeah, I feel bad for Kai. I know that's who you're talking about. And I wish he'd come back in, but maybe his wife found out that he's been in our chats and she wasn't happy with it. That might be part of the problem. I don't know. That's what I kind of thought about after he said that his phone was broken. I said, oh no, that doesn't sound good. Oh, okay. So do y'all want to play trivia, or do you still want to chat? I know you don't know, but I did so much work that they were amazed. They walked in that office after I left, after the first week or so, and asked that little girl, they said, do we have more work to do now than what we had when Linda was here? And she told them no. From what I understand, it's the same amount of work. I just can't do it as fast. Well, I got news for her. She didn't even do half of the work as fast because they didn't give her everything I did to do. They only gave her the data entry part. So that's right. You don't know what you got till you don't have it anymore. And most of the time, by then, it's too late. Yeah, so this ignorant lady is not quite as ignorant as some people think. I think the only place where I was ignorant is I did not demand more money than what I've ever made on jobs. No jobs I'd ever worked on paid me for what I did. They paid me for what they thought I was going to be able to do when they hired me, which was a mistake. I guess he's okay, T. Sharon. I don't know. He's not been in um, my lives in a couple of lives now. The last time he came in, he was only in for a short time. And he said he got in from work on the work computer or work phone or something. I don't know. Because he said his phone was broken. Yeah, I always went on a job with the attitude of do the best I can, do a good job. And that was the worst thing I could have done. That's where I was ignorant. I went in and done my job the best I could possibly do. And I found out later that it was probably 4 or 5 times the amount of work that other people were doing. And I didn't get paid for it. I got paid the same thing they were getting paid usually. Maybe $1 or $2 more hour, not much. And I took these little seasonal jobs, at Lowe's and um, Big Lots and Brahms and places around town, just to work for a couple of months through Christmas holidays or in the summer months and to pick up extra money. But, I didn't really care. But that's one reason I don't want to go back to work for anybody else. Not only that they don't want to hire someone of my age, usually. If you're already on the job, they'll keep you as long as you want to work. They don't get rid of you. There was one working at Lowe's when I worked there. He was way up in his 80s. And he said in the break room one time that he kept mentioning year after year that he was ready to retire. And they kept telling him, no, you can't retire. We need you. We need what you know. So he says, I've kept sticking around year after year. But he said, this year, he said, this time I'm gone. I'm retiring this year. No more. I'm just too old for this. Well, I got tired of punching a time clock and jumping when people tell me to jump. I know I've got responsibilities as being a YouTube creator because I do have to get my videos up or I don't make anything. I don't get my channel going. But I pretty much set my own hours in doing it. I'm not punching a time clock, which is a big difference. Yeah, maybe you'll get her on the live stream or something. Socks even in bed. Shelly says I'm deep Southern sounding. I don't usually have anything on my feet. Usually I'm walking around the house barefoot. Now sometimes if I'm already wearing shoes and I take my shoes off when I come in the house and I have socks on, I leave my socks on and walk around the house. That way if I want to go back outside, my socks are already on. I just slip my shoes back on. But unless it's really cold weather, I don't sleep with socks. I take them off before I go to bed. I got my toes in the grass right now. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm careful about putting my toes in the grass out here right now because I got those buckworms, caterpillars everywhere, and they sting 30 times at one touch. I know I've been stung before, and I don't want to get stung. But they're the worst this year I've ever seen them. And my neighbor's dad told me the day they were out walking the other day, he said, those old caterpillars, he said, they say they're going to be worse this year than they've ever been, and I believe it. Because I can go outside and start walking in my yard, and I'll see 3 or 4 of them all of a sudden, and they're there. Like I said, I pulled something up or broke something, harvesting something. I don't know what it was, but he must have been on that leaf. And when I pulled that leaf up, he got on my arm. I felt something moving on my arm. I looked down and I saw one of those buck caterpillars, and I almost had heart failure because I knew if he stung me, I was going to have about 50 bites on my arm at one time. And you know what I did? I didn't want to touch him. I didn't want to take a stick and hit him because if he did, I was afraid he was going to sting me. I just did my arm up like that, flung it up real hard, and he flew off my arm without a sting, thank God. But yeah, right now I don't want to go outside without good shoes or boots on my feet. Preferably boots if I'm going to be walking around too much out there, working in the yard. And I'm careful of what I put my hands in now too, because those things hurt. They hurt, it burns, and it hurts forever, and it burns forever. Yeah, I think so too, Susan. It's 79 here, April. It was about 89 today, somewhere up there. Well, no, maybe not quite that warm, but it was in the mid 80s. It was a little cooler because it had been raining and it was overcast all day, even though it didn't rain today. But the temperatures were a little cooler. I don't know anything about the woolly bear caterpillars. Do they sting? These buck caterpillars are, oh, they're outrageously, ooh, you don't want to get one of them on you to sting you. It felt like I had been bit or stung by 50 of them at one time when it stung my hand. I had bites all over my fingers, my knuckles, in between my fingers. I don't see how one caterpillar did that. But everywhere one of them little fuzzy touch, he stings you with it. And they turn into moths. These do. They don't turn into butterflies. They turn into a moth. These buck caterpillars. Randy said she had saddleback caterpillars where she is. And you can look at them and tell why they call them saddleback, because they look like they're wearing a saddle. I've seen pictures of them. We don't have those here, but we have buck caterpillars. Y'all look up buck caterpillars. BUCK, and see what you see about them. They're evil looking things. Well, nobody said, are we going to play trivia? Y'all want to play or not? It doesn't matter to me. I mean, we can or not. It's up to y'all. Yeah, thank God they don't get in my house. I'd go start raving mad if I ever saw one of them caterpillars in my house. You have the giant camouflage moths here. Next 8 days is 77 and down to 48 at night. We've still been pretty warm in the evening. It's been up at least in the 60s at night, sometimes 70. It's been hot enough. I've been kicking covers off, been getting hot. Turn the fan on in there to keep the bedroom cooler, because I don't want to turn the AC down too low and keep it too cold in the house. Oh yes, black fuzzy burgers. Oh, you know the caterpillar I'm talking about, T. Sharon? Do you have them where you live? The buck caterpillars? They look black and fuzzy, but when they stretch, their bodies look kind of green. And I think it was the way I reached in to get those bean poles. I reached in like that to grab the bean pole to pull it out. Or either I was staking up beans, I don't remember. But I pushed against him. And so the little fuzzy things went down between my fingers. It went up on my knuckles. It went down my fingers. It stung me everywhere just from that one caterpillar. I felt like I'd put my hand in a fire. It was terrible. I don't like to turn my air on too much because your body needs to sweat. You can't just stay in AC constantly and not sweat. It's not good for you. And since they took out 22 lymph nodes, my arm and body holds a lot of that fluid, liquid from that. And my surgeon told me that I needed to sweat. So I sweat all I can. Now, not if I got to get dressed up and go somewhere. I try not to. But if I'm home working in the yard and in the house, I do. I think we're all enjoying the company together. I'm tired and not up to trivia. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it tonight. I mean, I enjoy just chatting with everybody, kicking back, relaxing, and not working my mind too much this time of the evening. Well, gang, had fun hanging out with y'all, but go to all the good night, sleep tight. You too, Nancy. You have a good night, good day tomorrow. Don't let the bed bugs bite. April says, I'm having a grape soda. I haven't had one in years. Yummy. I don't know when the last time I drank a grape soda. It's been a long time. I never got into drinking the grapes. Once in a while I drink the orange one. T. Sharon said, oh, I hit one yesterday with the weed. It still. Oh. You sweat even with the AC on, so no worries. Well, mine is on. I just don't have it set on a really low temperature. I think I've got it on about 78. I mean, yeah, orange is good. I like to keep it down so I'm not dying of heat in here, but I don't like to keep it down so low that I get cold. I don't remember what my temperature is on. But my AC is not running right now. But it's set on one temperature. Yeah, good night, Joanne and Nancy. Y'all have a fantastic evening if you're leaving us. We have tent caterpillars here. They will take over your fruit trees and engulf them in what looks like a white sheet and lay eggs and eat tree up. We haven't got those here. I have seen something like that get on my marigolds one year. It looked like a big spider web covering my whole marigold plant. And I'd never seen that before. Hope I never see it again because it destroyed the marigold plant. I don't know if that was a worm or caterpillar or some kind of spider or what that was. Mine is at 80. T. Sharon says, I'm a 65 gal. I'd freeze if mine was on 65. Yeah, if I sit around and I'm not doing anything physically, I get cold. But if I'm up moving around, I'll get hot. So in that case, I might turn it down a little bit. Eats up the whole tree, huh? I didn't even know we had a tent caterpillar. Yeah, see, mine is 12 by 60 mobile home, and it's not insulated as well as a regular house. And it's an older one too, so you know it's not insulated as well. The roof that I had put on helps because there's a gap between the original roof and the roof that was put on. So they told me just that airspace in between acts as an insulation. And he said your house will stay warmer in the winter months, about 40% warmer, and it'll stay about 40% cooler in the summer with that roof on. So I was glad to hear that. Don't have a heater or air conditioner. Well, in Hawaii, you probably don't need one, April, of either one. Yeah, I'd be afraid to leave my windows up at night, too, unless there was screens or bars in them. I mean, I know if somebody wanted to get in my house and do me harm, they could get in here. It wouldn't be that difficult, even with the doors locked and the windows closed and everything else. But they'd have to make a racket to get in, that's for darn sure. Well, mine is lower now with my central air than it ever was with the window unit. My window unit would run me $300 a month, and that was just running the AC during the day. I can run my central air unit 24/7, and it's still lower than what the window unit was. But you know, the way the bills are going up, food prices are going up, but they're increasing our utility bills too, just the rates of them. Susan said mine actually went down recently in April. Oh, recently, talking to April. Well, see, I do that in the summer. Run the AC, the window unit during the day, get the house good and cold. And then by the time we went to bed at night, the house was cool. The temperature was dropping outside some. So sometimes I could turn the AC off at night and it would stay comfortable in the house till morning. One reason it ran so much with the window unit, it was not thermostat controlled. I mean, you could set it on a certain setting, low, high, or medium, or slow, or whatever, but it still would run constantly. It never cut off, and that's why the bill ran so high. With the central air, the thermostat does cut the unit off when it's reached the temperature. It cuts it off, and then it doesn't come back on until it drops below that temperature. So that helps with your bill, keeps your bill down. Those older window units didn't have that. I like those tower fans. Well, I've got a fan in my bedroom. It's not a ceiling fan, or I don't think it's not a tower fan, but it's just a fan that's up on a pole stand like. So if I need it on, I can turn it on. Well, I could do that, Susan. I already talked to the electric company about it. They could average my bill out for the whole year. That way I'd know pretty much exactly what my bill was going to run month to month. But so far I've chosen not to do that. I may do it eventually. I don't know. My mom did that at one time. She finally just had hers averaged out so it would be the same thing every month. And I think a lot of people do that are on fixed incomes, because it helps out with paying those bills each month. Do I have a Chili's here? Yes, ma'am, we do. We sure do. We've got a Chili's. We've had it for several years now. Yeah, I always hang my clothes, April. I don't even have a dryer. So if it's rainy and I want clothes washed, I wash them and hang them in my shower. I've got clothes hanging in my shower right now that I washed yesterday. And they're probably dry. I need to take them down and go hang them up in the closet. And I've even done my sheets that way. I mean, I can hang sheets up on a hanger and hang them over my bathtub and let them dry. So I've got to the place where I don't care if it rains or not. If I want something washed and dried, I'll just hang it up in there. Usually it dries overnight. Yeah, I can't imagine what people pay to run their dryers, whether they're electric or gas. I know it's got to be quite a bit. A friend of mine was complaining about her bill one time because of running the dryer, drying so many clothes for all her kids. And I said, well, you don't have to dry them in a dryer. I said, here in Texas, as hot as it gets in the summer and dry as it is, they actually get dry quicker if you put them outside on the clothesline than they do if you throw them in the dryer. She didn't believe me. And she managed to get her a line put up close to the house, started hanging her clothes out. She says, oh my God, you're right. I hang my clothes up. By the time I go in the house, wash another load and go back out to hang them up, the first ones are dry already. I said, see, I told you. I said, unless it's raining and you got to have something dry quick, it don't pay to run a clothes dryer. I don't want to hang my clothes out right now, but these caterpillars around. I don't want to be going out there and taking my clothes in and have caterpillars in there. That would freak me out. So I refuse to hang anything outside to dry right now. Yeah, people may wonder why I haven't been hanging out anything, because sometimes I would hang out stuff if I want them to dry quicker. I'd hang them outside. But not during the time when those caterpillars are here or that junk's falling out of the trees because it gets all in your clothes. And I would die if I went out there to take clothes off the line and put my arms around a freaking caterpillar and he stung me. Look up my favorite thing I have to tell you because I can't spell it. It costs $4 to go to the dump. Other things inside. Sounds good, whatever you call it. And see, we can't go to the dump here anymore. You got to be a member of the trash service to be able to go to the dump. And I pay like $40 a month right now just for trash service. And they only pick up once a week. Used to it was $12 and they picked up Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think, or Tuesdays and Friday. But the company got bigger, merged with other companies. Now they pick up once a week and they charge you triple what they used to. Try the quesadilla explosion salad. That's fantastic. When I went out to eat with my daughter, her mother-in-law, and her grandmother-in-law when she was still alive, we got quistadas or quistillas. I don't think it was called an explosion, but they were really good. It's 22 here for the 22 degrees? I do that too sometimes, Susan. You know, that's a shame because even in good communities, they are allowed to have those aluminum fold type clotheslines. They look like umbrellas almost in their backyard. And that's what I told her, the area she lived in. It was nice homes, semi nice, But I told her, I said, you don't live in such a ritzy area that you can't have a clothesline in your backyard. And most people around here, the new homes that are being built, they got privacy fences up around the backyard. So you don't know whether they got clotheslines or not. Huh. Yeah, these that we got were not hot either. But it looked like a flat pancake with tons of cheese and all kind of stuff on it. Were in it. It was good. Don't get the Santa Fe, it's hot. That's one thing I don't like. We got a good Mexican restaurant here, but I can't read the menu. I don't know what I'm ordering. I ordered something one time that the girl tried to explain to me what it was. So I ordered it. Oh my God, I wished I hadn't. It was nothing but a big oval shaped platter full of mashed up pinto beans with cheese and crap on it. I never would have ordered it if I'd have known what it was, but after I got it, I said, well, I'm stuck with it now. And I don't go back. I mean, if I go for karaoke, and it's been a couple of years since I've even done that. I used to go once a week when they had karaoke in that restaurant and sing karaoke. And this one time I decided, well, I'm going to eat dinner while I'm here. Never do that again because I don't know what's on the menu. I mean, I'll go to a restaurant that serves Mexican food that the menu is in English. So I know what I'm getting. Well, I think that one had pictures, but she didn't show me a picture of what I got. What I got was not the picture, or I wouldn't have ordered it. I didn't even have any kind of meat on that plate. It was beans and cheese and just spread out all over the whole plate. I mean, I like beans and I like cheese, but that's not what I wanted for my dinner. I don't think they have a picture menu in this Mexican restaurant. So I said you couldn't even work there unless you spoke Spanish and could read Spanish. See rain coming, gotta go in. Yeah, don't want to get wet, April. Yeah, that's what I say. If I can't read the menu and know what I'm ordering, I'm not eating there. Not unless somebody beside me orders something that looks really good and I want it and I can somehow order that, then maybe. But I don't even run the risk of doing that now. You dip it in your sour cream. Well, I think this thing had sour cream on top of it. It was like open like a pancake, and it had refried beans and cheese and all kind of stuff. And then it had guacamole, and it had the sour cream on top. It was good, but I think it was called something costada. I don't know. Yeah, no telling what you'll end up with. I want to know what I'm getting. I want to know what I'm paying for. I want to know what I'm going to have to sit there and eat. You made the mistake one time ordering tea, Sharon. Mix sour cream and salsa together. Well, that's not too bad because I like both. I'd rather have my sour cream and salsa on top of guacamole on top of a salad, a taco salad. Oh, I love those taco bowls. Oh my goodness. You get the meat and the lettuce, and then you get the sour cream, and you get the guacamole, and you get the cheese. That is some good stuff. Made it in just in time. Well, good for you, April. You can tell this rain has helped my allergies. It's calmed all the dust and stuff down all around us. And the wind's not blowing, so I'm not gagging and sneezing and coughing so bad. And there's M. Largent says, I do that too, April, and then dip tortillas or veggies in it. It all sounds good. It's yummy, I bet. Man, I could eat away at a taco salad right now. Those things are good. They're so big, though. I have all I can do to eat one, and sometimes I can't eat the whole thing. Tripe is pig innards. I'm not eating tripe. I'm sorry. I've seen it. I've known some of my family that will eat it. I want no part of tripe. No. I will pass. Yeah, we have a Chipotle here, but I've never been in there. And the guy that worked at in produce where I worked at Brahms for, he kept telling me, you need to go to Chipotle. They have some good food at Chipotle. He said they pay better over there too, almost like he was hinting for me to go get a job at Chipotle. I've never been inside the restaurant at all. Yeah, no tripe for me. I'd have to be absolutely starving, and then I don't know if I could put it in my mouth. I tried chitlins once, and it was plain nasty. Yeah, I'm not eating chitlins either. Cracklins? Now, hey, cracklins are a different story. That's like eating a little fried pork rind. Only it's got a little bit more fat on it. And those are pretty good. And crackling cornbread is good. I was thinking the other day, I need to make me some crackling cornbread. But I can't. I don't have any cracklings. And I got to thinking, I said, well, I could go buy me a little piece of what we called fatback back home. And I guess it's called fatback here. I don't know. But it looks more like bacon, but it's got more fat than red meat on it. I could buy a little strip of that, cut it up in little squares, cubes, and fry it up real good, and make me some cornbread with it, and that'd be my crackling cornbread, because it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm allergic to mold too. That's the reason I went crazy moving that soil out here, because it's got ground up mushrooms in it. And if it's dry and dusty, when you dig in stuff and move it, it's getting all those spores in the air. That's why I had to wear the mask. But I'm allergic to everything in the dirt, not just the mushrooms. So, I have to wear a mask dealing with it anyway. I moved some of it today and I didn't wear a mask, but it was because it was so humid and the dirt was wet, so it didn't cause anything to come up in the air. So I was able to get away with it. My glasses are hurting my nose. I love pork rinds too, T. Sharon. And cracklings are almost similar, but they got just a little bit more fat on it. It's not just the skin fried crisp. It's got a little bit of the fat content left on it. And old timers always cook that up real small, little pieces, and would mix it in their cornbread, and it makes a good cornbread. So one of these days, maybe I might just do that. It's almost like frying up several strips of bacon and crumbling up your bacon and mixing your bacon chips up in your cornbread. That would be good. I didn't think of that. I could make me some bacon cornbread. I bet that'd be just as good, if not better, than crackling cornbread. That's the way it is in North Carolina, Susan. People get mold around the bottom of their houses, the bottom like foot of their garage doors and all that, because it's so humid and it rains so much. Everything stays so moist that mold just thrives. Yeah, I might make me some with the bacon. I don't know. I'd rather get that piece of little fat back and chop it up into little bitty pieces and fry it real crisp and get that in there. I'm going to do that one day because I've been wanting to do it for a week now. Some of my family always swore by their crackling cornbread. And I love them because I'd eat them fresh out of the grease when my grandparents in North Carolina kill their hogs every year. You know, they butcher hogs once a year and fry the fat and get the lard out of it. Well, when you fry the fat, you get the cracklings or your pork rinds. And we get to eat them right out of the grease. I mean, they were still hot. We'd salt them and eat them. Those were really good. But I do remember they would make crackling cornbread. Yeah, I like sweet onions and stuff like that in my cornbread too. And I always cook mine on the countertop. I don't ever bake it. My mom always baked her cornbread in the oven just like a layer of a cake. And it was good, but I always fix mine on the stovetop. Do my biscuits too sometimes. Well, that's one thing we don't have to put up with here is much mold. You don't get mold on your house or cars or anything. But as much rain as we've had right now, I've got mushrooms popping up in my yard. I don't know what kind of mushrooms they are, but I know they came out of that soil. I'm getting that pile down. It'll be gone pretty soon. I've been thinking about taking my big fire pit and filling it up with wood in the bottom and cardboard and all kind of stuff, and taking the rest of that soil and putting it in there and make me a raised bed garden out of it to plant some of my tomatoes and stuff when they're ready to transplant. I haven't decided yet. And I've got the tree on my next lot over here. The lot doesn't belong to me. But I noticed today and yesterday, it's like 3 cypress trees growing together, almost like one tree, and the whole thing has died. And in this wind and rain we've been having, there's 2 pieces that go that way. Well, the one piece comes this way, and the one that comes this way is coming right across my property line, right where my big pots are. And I said, that thing needs to be cut because it's going to fall pretty soon. And I'm not going to leave it laying across my lot over there. I'll either get the saw out and start cutting on it myself, or I'll get my son or somebody to cut it for me when they're here, or I can get somebody to do it. You love it. Your grands are learning not all food comes from a can or freezer. You know, April she must be Gladys's twin. Because you know what's on their mind. You know what's on their mind by their comments that just pop up occasionally. She's thinking about those Italian men wearing those she's thinking about those Italian young men that are wearing those Speedos on the beach is what she's thinking about. She's thinking about those hot Italian. It's raining, April. They're not out there right now. Hopefully. Although if they're surfers, they might be still there. April, there's worse things than being lonely. I've lived alone for so long, I don't know what it would be like to date or marry to someone. I don't know if I could handle it or not. I go to the corner store and it's filled with hippies. You still have hippies in Hawaii? I thought the days of the hippies were gone. Go to the corner store and flirt with hippies. T. Sheriff says, I want a man in a Cedo. I think you meant Speedo. You left the P out. April's got all kind of Italian stallions walking on that beach in front of her house wearing Speedos. Yes, where I live is hippie village. Down, girl. T. Sharon's getting excited. I don't trust him anymore. I've been through so many bad experiences since I've been single. I don't know if I ever would want to date one again. I don't know that I'd want to take a chance. Last one I dated tried to kill me, so I'm not too anxious to date a guy. Well, if you meet one, there's no harm in him being rich, April. Better that he's rich than poor. A little bit of money don't hurt. That's what I say. I'm too old to train another one. I don't think they're trainable nowadays. James Taylor's coming to town. I don't know who James Taylor is. My hair is tickling my ear. I want a sweet man with loving hands and a beautiful heart. Well, they're not easy to find. Good luck, April. Yeah, that last one I met and dated for a couple of weeks. He seemed like a really nice man, but he turned out to be a serial killer or something. I don't know. Ended up in jail because he sure tried to kill me. And I didn't even know the man. I had just met him, only dated him, knew him for 5 weeks. So I don't trust men. I just don't. That's true, Connie. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Do they even exist? Oh, your in-laws are friends with James Taylor? Well, good for you, Anne. I should have sunflowers and Indian paint blanket flowers all over my yard next year. Because I've put Indian paint blanket flowers and sunflowers in all my rock gardens. And they're going to drop seed. So I'll have volunteer plants coming up next year. I think most of my bulbs that I put in my front rock garden are gone. I don't know if something ate them or what, because there's not many of them that are coming up that I can see. Which is a shame, because I had it full of some type of flower bulb, and it was beautiful the year that they all came up and bloomed. I got pictures of them on my Facebook wall. My rose bushes too were beautiful that year. Not now. I mean, most of them are gone. Well, the ones that do exist are already married, Connie. I said all the good ones are taken. They're married already. Yeah, I'm afraid at this stage of my life, if I ended up getting married, he wouldn't like it because I speak my mind. I don't put up with bullshit anymore. I don't put up with none of that garbage. And I've not been putting up with this guy that's going around town running his mouth like he knows everything about me when he doesn't know anything. That gets old after a while. Good for you, April. I've lived too many years, went through too much heartache and bullcrap. And at my age, I'm not putting up with it anymore. If was married again and started any of that crap, I'd show him where the door is, and I said, don't let it hit you in the ass going out. Aren't you gone yet? April. I found most of the good looking guys that are younger than me wanted to date me. All they were after is what they get. All they were after is what they could get. Free use of a car, a tank of gas, being taken out to dinner, go shopping, and you pay the bill for them. No, I ain't doing that. I don't have the money to do that, and I'm not going to do it even if I did. My wallet don't know how to open. It's glued shut. Yep, feels much better. Yeah, I'm not saying there's not some decent men out there, but I don't know where they're at. They're either already got one foot in the grave, or they're already married, or they're too young. They're like Kai, good looking, nice, clean cut guy, and way too young. Young enough probably to be my grandson. Yeah, it's hard, Susan. I know you have somebody that lived with you or you lived with for that long, and then all of a sudden they're gone. It's like there's an empty space in the house. I know what it's like. Well, I was married 10 years each time, and I've been single for 40 years now, I think. So I've been single longer than I've been married. I tell everybody I'm a professional single person. Anything you want to know about single, I can tell you. Been there, done that. I called my ex the other day because usually he'd call me every once in a while. Just say he was checking on me to see how I was doing. Well, I hadn't heard from him in a while. Didn't hear from him Easter. And so I got to wonder because I knew he'd not been well off, you know. And I knew he had knee surgery and all that, and had some injuries after that. So I called him. He said, "Oh, I'm fine considering." He said, "My knees are fine." He said, "It's other problems that are bothering me now, not my knees." But he said he called my son a couple of weeks ago. And he said, "Didn't he tell you that I called?" I said, "No, I don't remember him saying you called." He said, "Yeah, I called and asked him if he could send me some pictures of the family and stuff." I said, "No, he didn't mention any of that to me." But I said, "You might not get pictures because he's holding a low profile. He's got too many people trying to steal his identity and all kind of crap, and he's just tries to lay low." Really don't want people to know who he is, I guess. The less they know, the better off he is, I guess. And my ex says, "Well, that's why I'm surprised you're on YouTube. You're up there in front of the whole world." I said, "Well, at my age, I don't really care." I said, "I don't have a bank account to worry about. I mean, I've got a bank account, but it's just there's just enough money to pay my bills month to month. So there's not enough there to worry about anybody stealing or getting into. I got a credit card with a real low balance. I mean, a low maximum, and that's the way I wanted it. And I've charged on it quite a bit, so there's not much left there to charge on, if you know what I'm saying." April lost her husband in 2021. And T. Sharon says, "I was married 35 years before he passed." Well, my first husband had a heart attack and passed away years ago. My second husband, he's still alive. He's not in the best of health, but he's 8 years older than me. Like I said, he had surgery on both knees here a while back. Fell after that and caused some more damage, but it's not his knees. But he's still up and around with a walker. And he's got a shoe shop that he bought, but he doesn't work in it anymore. He's got somebody else running it or working there. He just drives out to town once in a while to check on things, see how everything's going. Gives him something to get up and go do. Paul's in the garden. Hello. Welcome to our chat. We've been on here for a while, but we've enjoyed chatting, so we just haven't gotten off, so. And I think it's good, especially if the women are living alone. I mean, I know Connie's got her husband there, but she likes to have somebody to chat with, occasionally, not just be there with Bobby. And it does good for all of us single ladies to get together and chat. And the guys that come in, I'm not excluding them because I love the guys that come into our chat. Sheila says, I'm still here just listening to Linda's stories. Yeah, the most talking I do is on my videos. My videos and my live chats. Go to the association meetings once a month, and I might say hi or bye. Not very much when I go to the meetings. I've tried to keep my mouth shut as much as possible so I don't get myself in trouble. But I don't think it hurts to voice your opinion about some things once in a while, about where you live and what's going on. Oh, I made the best smoothie today, and I'm gonna post the video in the morning, but I'm not gonna tell you how I made it. You'll have to watch the video, and it's at the end of the video, not the beginning. My disaster is at the front of the video. Show you what not to do, so something will turn out right. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'll get y'all curious, and you'll watch it, see what I'm talking about. But I tell you what, I drank every bit of that smoothie. Oh my God, it was so good. Like eating ice cream. Sheila says, I just ate a popsicle. And Betty Blue says, I'm alone, was married for 24 years, divorced since 2001. I was divorced in 83. So I've been single since 1983. We moved here in 1978 and divorced in 1983. And the year after I was divorced is when I got hurt at Walmart, my back and neck. Paul's Gladys was in chat a little while ago, but I think her pad or something was giving her problems. So she kind of faded away. How is Betty? Oh, I just noticed I got 41 thumbs up, y'all. Thank you for that. I worked at a Kmart, LOL. Well, I worked at a JM Fields in North Carolina many years ago before I ever come to Texas. And that was similar to like a Walmart or a Kmart store. It had a little bit of everything, ladies department, men's department, housewares, shoes, all kind of stuff. Bed linens, kitchen stuff, everything you could probably need to go in a house, except furniture. And I enjoyed working there. I was one of the managers there when I lived in North Carolina. But I think it closed a few years after I left North Carolina. And I don't know if they even have a JM Fields anymore. But it was a chain just like Walmart, not as big as Walmart. But it was a chain like department store like that. I would have loved to have been a full-time teacher, but I never did go on to finally get my bachelor's degree, and I needed that. I had the equivalent of what I had, but you have to actually have the bachelor's degree to be able to be a teacher. And I never actually could get the bachelor's degree because I couldn't go back to school at that point. I needed to go to work and keep my bills paid, so that's what I did. And I chose substitute teaching instead years later. And that's what I did basically full time for 5 or 6 years, I guess. And I was one of the preferred subs. I mean, the teachers would call me before anybody else. So they kept me busy every single day at one of the schools. And I loved it because I loved working with the kids. It was like having a full-time job. The only difference is if I didn't feel like taking a job for the next day, I didn't have to take it. I was in control of my own schedule, basically. I know, Connie, you went through a lot of hardships. Little buddy, he's scratching at the door and his bowl is outside. I wonder if he's ate all his food. Where's your bowl? You got food right there. You got food right there. He's got a little bit of dry cat food still in his bowl, but he wants something else. Maybe he wants a little bit of water. I didn't think of that. Let me get your bowl. I didn't put any water in this, and sometimes he likes a little bit of water in his dried food. But sometimes he gets a little thirsty. Here you go. Try that. I guess that's what he's wanting. He's licking it up. He's licking that stuff up. Well, maybe, I don't know. The kids loved me. I mean, and they told me all the time that I was the best sub they could ever have. Because I guess with my education, I was able to help them with a lot of their assignments where the other subs didn't do anything. They just went in there, took the roll, sat there and watched them and didn't do anything except tell them, here's your assignment, do it. But never helped them with any of it if they needed it. But when I went in, even in the high school, I was able to help them with their assignments, explain things to them if they needed it. And they said the other subs didn't do that with them. So they always loved having me to be their substitute teacher. And the teachers loved it because they knew that their students would not miss their assignments that day because they were out. They knew if they gave me the assignment to give them, I gave it to them. And if they needed help or explanations with it, I could help them. So I'm just sorry I wasn't still subbing. I mean, I'd probably still be subbing if it hadn't been for the incident that I went through with my favorite person in Granbury. And we won't get into that. I don't want to even talk about it. But yeah, I love being a substitute teacher. So therefore, I know I would have been a great full-time teacher, I think. Oh no, he's out of rehab and drinking again. So being in rehab is not going to do him any good if he's going to do that. Okay, Susan, I understand. And I should probably see how long we've been on here. Oh my God, almost 3 hours. I should let everybody go. I'm sure that you have. I was a police dispatcher before 9/11. Oh, wow, T. Sharon. I can imagine that was an interesting job. As much that went on with the police and having to send them to different places. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Susan. Yeah, I thought about taking night classes years ago to go ahead and try to finish up and get my bachelor's degree. But they said that I'd have to take so many courses within their school to be eligible to get the bachelor's degree from them that it was almost like starting halfway through again. And then it was going to cost me like $20,000 to take the course. And I said, I can't afford that. And then I found out from a choir instructor that I had years ago that he already had a doctorate. No, he had a master's degree. And he said, I've been working on my doctorate online as old as I am. And he said, it's not costing me anything. I said, well, how are you doing that? He said, actually, they're paying me to take classes. I said, well, that's what I need to do. I need somebody to pay me to take classes. I could have got my bachelor's degree and I could have been a teacher full time. But I never did find out who he went through to get all that done. But I said, I may have had a chance to do that. But, you know, at this stage of the game, I'm not interested in being a full-time teacher. I'm getting a little bit too old to be a full-time teacher. I don't even know if I want to be a substitute teacher anymore. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've subbed. I just had to quit subbing altogether, so. Which I hated, but that's just the way things worked out. Most of the community colleges have a program for free education for people over 55. Yeah, but the community colleges usually only go to an associate's degree. I had a Pell Grant the whole time I was going to college and got my 2 associate degrees, you know, in computer information systems and general business. And I was going to transfer to Tarleton University to get my bachelor's degree. But they said, you're going to have to take X amount of classes, and then it was going to cost X amount of dollars that I didn't have. And I said, I can't do it. I had 2 kids at home, too, that I was raising on my own as a divorced mother. So I couldn't be gone all the time. I had to work to help support us. And I was taking college classes at night part of the time during the day. But I had to be home as much as possible when my kids were home. I just couldn't abandon them to go get a degree, you know. So that's just the way my life worked out. Yeah, it'd be nice if education was free for everybody. I mean, you know, the first 12 years of your life, you go to public schools, it's free. I mean, you do have to, the counties and cities are taxed government dollars to pay for schools. And you have to buy sometimes your own supplies to go to school, or sometimes the government pays for it. But on the most part, your education is free. But then after 12th grade, you got to start paying for it. I mean, I got a Pell Grant each semester to go to school. And I got, I think it was $25 a day in gas to go back and forth. But then I had to, let's see. I was thinking I had to buy my own books. I know I had to pay for something, but it didn't pay for every single thing I needed to go to college. And it definitely didn't pay my bills. So, out of the money they allotted me to go to college each semester, I was able to pay for my books out of that. And then they allotted me so much in transportation back and forth, to pay for my gas. But even though they do all that, you still have to work and support yourself, which is hard when you got to work certain days or certain nights around your classes. So, I think the last couple of years I went to college, I took 2 night classes a week over there and drove back and forth. Before that, I worked it out somehow to where I was taking daytime classes. But it's hard. I give anybody credit for going to college and having to work at the same time because it's not easy. And Betty Blue says, I worked in the factory for 18 years before working at Sam's Club. Well, I worked in several factories in North Carolina. A women's dress factory, lingerie factory, blue jean factory, electronics plant, where I say I was a mini welder on a mini scale because I soldered wires to the condenser coils that went into TVs years ago. And they're little bitty. They're not much bigger than an inch square and I even run machines part of the time to wind that wire on those little coils or on the little spool that they make the condensers on. And then after you put the wire on it, it's sent down the line to people that actually solder the connection of the wires to the condenser. And I did that for a period of time. And they were going to make me a manager in the store. I'm not the store, the factory or plant. Because they knew I was single, separated at the time. I had a little girl. And they were going to make me a manager. But for some reason, they wanted me to move over to Burgaw, where the plant was. And I didn't realize what was going to happen when I didn't take the job. Or when I didn't do a lot of things that they mentioned me doing. One was moving in with one of the other supervisors. She had a little girl too, and she said, we can help one another. I said, well, I have a house to live in. And at the time, I did have a mobile home. It was one that me and my husband had and lived together. And I had moved it into a little mini mobile home park. Well, they knew better than me what was going to happen. I figured I was going to be able to keep staying in my house. But I wasn't. After the divorce, my ex just came and took the house. And we had to go through court and then sell the house, and then I had nowhere to live. And that's what they meant. They could have helped me. I could have moved in with her. They'd have helped me with my little girl, her little girl. I'd have made manager. I probably would have been able to get my own place a little bit later. But you don't know things like that. I never dreamed he would have done that to me. But it did. And so much for that. After listening to y'all, I have a pretty dull life compared to most of you. That's what I think, listening to other people sometime. Yeah, not dull, just different. But that was years and years ago. I was like 25, 26 years old when that was going on. I'm a lot older now. Lots older. Been through a lot of trials and tribulations since then, and a lot of good times as well. April says, my life is different, all right. What do you mean your life is different, all right, April? Yeah, and he's still here, or he's still here, and he's got the same saying that Gladys does: April showers brings May flowers. Betty Blue says, different times for sure. I'm 65 and okay. Yeah, all of us had trials and tribulations going through our lives. Everybody does. It's all different. We don't have the same ones or the same problems, but they're always there. No one has a perfect life. Just passing by before work. What time is it where you're at, Yohanan? You're Hannon or... Oh, my nose itches. 10 p.m. Oh, you work at night, huh? It's 10 here. So you must be Central Time. I forgot where you lived. I don't know if you've ever said, but if you did, I forgot. My name means I am gracious. Well, you always act gracious in our chats. My name means I'm gracious, or one in English. Yes, third central, indeed, in the heart. Heartland, Illinois. Okay. It's 11 where Betty Blue is. CNA, a physical health care. Oh, wow, that's an interesting job. I think that's one thing that's wrong with a lot of rich people, Connie. They have so much money, they get bored and they don't know what to do with themselves. So they usually get in trouble, or they do drugs, or they get into some kind of crap they shouldn't get into. Yep, we'd all be bored if everything was perfect. You got to have a little bit of challenges through your life. Everything just can't be perfect. Definitely an interesting profession, one that teaches a valuable lesson. April says I make little accidents. I make happy little accidents. I don't know what you mean by that. Well, thank you, Betty Blue. I feel like all of my subscribers that come into chat that I've gotten to know are family. I say you're my YouTube family. Well, thank you, Betty Blue. Not mistakes. Little happy. Make happy little accidents. Well, that's a nice way to put it. Bob Ross says that. It's cute. Well, y'all, we've been on here for 3 hours. I've still got 39 people, though. I don't want to just turn everybody off. Reminds me of an old movie, Wild Heart Can't Be Broken. Well, that's kind of true. I always look forward to your videos, Linda. So glad I found you. Well, I'm glad you found me too, Sheila. Linda, are you live tomorrow? Well, no, I don't usually go live on Friday, but, like I did the other night, I might decide to. I might decide to go live in the morning. I don't know. And if I do, I'm not going to schedule it. I'm just going to be live. The only two that I actually schedule usually is Thursday night at 7 and Sunday at 3. Other times I might just pop up live, and if you've got your all notifications set, then you'll know the minute I go live because it'll send you a notification that I'm live. Okay, Hannah, and you have a good night too. Enjoy your work. I love all your nice sayings that you post in our chat. That's so sweet. Yeah, and I'm going to have to get off here too. It's, it's 10:06, really. I know it's 11:06 where a lot of you at. It's still early for April, I know. It's probably around dinner time for her. Somewhere around that. But yeah, if you'll go back where it says to subscribe and hit that little bell, and that menu will drop down and it gives you choices to be notified for all videos or some videos. You can choose whichever one. If you'll hit all notifications where you subscribed, every time I go live, it'll let you know that I went live, or it will tell you that I just posted a video. So when I subscribe to a person's channel, I usually go up and choose all notifications so I get notified anytime they go live or post a video. So that's what y'all need to do if you haven't already done it. Because I'm liable to go live any time of the day or night, whenever the notion strikes me. Only 8 for me. I'm watching TV while listening. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock where April is. It's just about dinner time for her. Oh, Betty Blue says, thank you, Chat and Linda. I'm subscribed now. Well, I'm glad you subscribed to us. Well, it's 3 hours, so I'm not going to hold y'all anymore. It's nighttime for most people. We're not all in Hawaii like April. So we've got things to do. Some of us have obligations tomorrow. So as much as I hate to end the video or the live, I guess I'm going to have to. Smoothie time. I've already had my smoothie today. But I might get something else to drink. I don't know what. Maybe some juice or something. I love y'all too, April, and everybody else. Sheila, Betty Blue, Connie, Gladys, Susan, Yohanan, Craig. I can't think of everybody. Shelley. But if I missed anybody, I love you too. I just can't remember all the names in the list without seeing them. So y'all have a blessed evening. Have a good day tomorrow. And I guess we'll chat on our next live. And above all, watch my videos. Some of them are kind of crazy, but hey, that's me. Connie says, good night, everybody. 4 comes all too... Oh, yeah, 4 o'clock. You better believe it. Okay, Sheila. You have a great one. And we'll see you on my next live in M. Largent 2003 You have a blessed evening. April, have a blessed evening. And like I said, I'll see you on my next one. Bye now. Bye.